Right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sincere apologies for the breaking transmission, but we're still live in the studio and it's trends. And of course, today we're joined by the special, the phenomenal Favor or maybe Jay. All right, so we were having a conversation earlier about the whole jam palava. To say the least, right? But I want us to touch on another conversation that I feel is long overdue, right? Favor, there are certain expectations that I don't know who has them. Society, family. Let me just say society because it about rounds everything up. Society has about people, especially as they edge towards certain milestones. And one of the most popular ones that we see around is the 30 expectation. Age 30 expectation. So I want to talk about some of those expectations I've heard. I'll share one quickly, and then I want to talk about them. And if you have had any of those expectations, right? Someone I think I saw a tweet, and the person was saying that if you are 30 and you have not bought your first car,
oh my.
that you are literally a failure. That's what they were trying. They were saying it in a very nice way, but that's what they're trying to say. That at 30 and you have not had your first car, you are a failure. Let me, if I even talk, what do you think about this thing?
It's society. I mean, it's the pressure. It's the pressure from, the challenges or the sufferings of some people, from background that has now spiraled into society.
Yeah.
How you perceive the world matters. Because for someone, the car is a priority for him. And he's going nowhere. Car is not a luxury. It's not.
True.
It's not a luxury. True. But for you to hinge an individual's life on an item, it shows the your mindset towards that.
Mental capacity.
There are people that have money and they did really saw that they don't need a car. In fact, I know some of my friends that they are capable, well able, but they refuse to get a car.
Get it.
Because they've told them the society has nothing on me. Nobody will pressure me. I can easily move from here to here. This. So I feel like it's the pressure from the biases of people.
Yes.
Which a lot of would have caused that. When they heard that somebody was maltreated because he came into an event without a car and he was treated, and then the status thing, the perception. Let me just quote this. I was in one of the Bible studies that we had earlier this year at Light Nation, and Apostle said something. He said, for you to think that if you walk into an environment or to a place, and because you come in a flashy car, people perceive you in a certain way, and the day you don't come into that place with that same car, you perceive yourself differently.
Yes.
It means that you are the problem.
Yes.
Because it is the same person that is coming, just in a different way. So how do you evaluate yourself? What value do you?
You mentioned that many times. I think people react to other people's stories, right? For example, someone heard a story of when they got married for the first 3 years, they were flying bike. She even had accidents with her baby on her back, and then automatically the lady picked up a rema and say,
Why are you using a lady as an example?
Sure, you see that. You don't have to start the gender war now. I'm just giving an example.
I mean, it's equal right now. So
exactly.
We don't want equal right in that side.
Who is likely to make that statement? But moving on.
A better move on.
Right. So take for example, she heard that story. Someone shared it. Oh, it was terrible. And she made a decision that
I'm not marrying any man without
a car, right? While that can be a noble decision for certain reasons, the motive or the reason why you're making that decision is that you are latching off of someone else's pain and the fear that comes with it. So many times people react to not even their own circumstances, whereas this person that God is even bringing to you at the moment doesn't have a car, but it's just at the last phase of his wilderness experience, right? And God is saying that it will come to a point where thinking that car was a luxury at some point will be insulting to you, because you'll be like, Jesus, I can't believe that one time I was thinking this, because you have seen how much this person has,
grown
10x over the space of a show. So I'm just saying that sometimes people respond to other people's fears. People respond to other people's experiences, and they take it up as though it's their own. What about people that say stuff like, if you're not married before 30?
That's the most common one, especially for a lady. That's it's for everybody. But it's more common for a lady because they'll tell you your time is running out, like to give birth, biology, like you have to get married very fast. Is there any truth
in that statement?
For the biology part, it's kind of 50-50.
You know, truth is relative because I mean, when you look at the Bible, you look at Sarah. You know,
Sarah I didn't even an example.
See, we don't say that, but
But I mean, so like we can douse the fact that truth is relative, right?
I agree.
Yes. Yeah, like biology should not be a reason you will run into wrong marriage. But that's one of the examples, one of the reasons that they give us. And another thing is like women tend to get older faster than men, so they are like you have to get married very fast before you start getting old, before people will stop coming to you, you know, all of that. So the pressure is quite high.
So I want to ask a question. So is it that people will stop coming, that potential suitors will stop coming up? We're really scared of the birth aspect. So which
the birth?
Yeah.
Is the I think I think the fear is more on the aspect of people like suitors stopping like coming for a single lady. The fear is more on that aspect than the menopause is still far now, at least like 50, so you still have time. But the majority of the fear is on suitors because men, you guys are here, you like young things. Sorry, I'm calling my
giving us jabs. So let me give you a little background. Ife has been giving me jabs for how many episodes now?
I can see the cross jab.
So here's the thing, right? There are certain aspects that when you look at this thing from, there might be some truth to it, right? For example, there are certain ladies that just feel like I have time. So just let me, I'm not going to be serious in my life. I'm not going to position myself to get serious in the sense that, okay, someone what's your explanation? What's the definition of serious? Do I have to be married to be serious? No, I'm not saying you have to be married to be serious. I'm saying that there are certain ladies that feel like, you know what, I'm not, I see, I like, I do. Marriage for you is a function of God causing you to meet the right person. The rib of how they put that rib and rib come together, bone to bone, right? So that's supposed to be the pattern for biblical relationship and eventually marriage. So if we have that consciousness, it eliminates the agitation that comes with wanting to, you know, Jacob our way out of
the thing is
issue.
Nigerian setting, you know, we believe so much in spiritual forces, like problem from the father side, from the mother side. So where is your husband? So they will now be like, you have to go to different prayer platform, go to like pray for deliverance, when actually there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that the time is not here yet, or you know, different things.
I think the reason why conversations like this can be a bit dicey is because even what you described can be a possibility.
Yeah, exactly. So you are not sure.
It can be a possibility.
You are not sure. Is it that I have problem, or is it that?
So we're not negating the fact that
yes, it can be.
Thank God, no peace for the wicked. But thank God for our victory in Christ, right?
Yes.
Because the truth of it is that I have seen people, sometimes even people very close to me, right? And sometimes it's beyond explanation. This person is beautiful. This person has good character. This person has even kept themselves. This person has done everything right. Yet this person is approaching menopause and this person is not married.
You know, this is a dicey issue, but because there are all sorts of factors that can be responsible for this. And thank God that in these days, the body of Christ is beginning to realize that trauma is really something. So, I mean, someone that goes or comes from a background where what he saw or she saw was an unpleasant situation. That has a way of, you know, spiraling into their choice making.
True.
Yeah, so it even from beyond the physical and everything, this is like a psychological problem that has been haunting that person. So to come to terms that, see, I want to marry, it's even one thing. Then who should I marry?
Yes.
Is another
right
thing.
person?
Yeah. So I mean that we should not neglect the fact that sometimes there are some psychological things that cause these problems.
True.
Not in this kind of situation.
True. Very, very true. So at this point, I wanted to ask you guys, what are the weirdest expectations you have heard that people have? I know we have mentioned a few of them. What are the weirdest ones you have heard that before this age you should have done this?
One came to my mind now that I don't think we really think about, and it's the spiritual aspect. And I would like to hear your thought on this, because we've had things like, if you're at this certain age and you've not prayed, like you can't pray for this certain number of hours, then what are you doing with your life? So what do we think in that kind of, is there a realistic expectation?
So for this, right, I want to say that life is in seasons, right? There are some certain things that you can afford to do when you are in primary school, secondary school, university, because of the responsibility attached to that level. When you are a family man and then children now come to play, then there are some certain things now you have to do by mandate that cannot afford you to do certain things. So I wouldn't say just the prayer aspect. I mean, like, for example, if you're single for a span of, let's say, 5 years, that gives you enough room for you to be able to build yourself to a certain level that when the person comes, you might not be able to have the same time you always. Now you are going to be a irresponsible husband. Now you are going to be an irresponsible father. They need you at home. They need food on the ground. You can't say that's the time
you want to lock yourself.
So I feel like, sometimes it might not be nicely said. Sometimes there's a way this thing has a way of hitting us head
makes
on.
us to pray and
But if you can find a system to
that
really
works.
maximize seasons, is the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that in my own opinion, right? It's a dicey conversation. The fact that she treated that to me, I know her head, right? So those statements are said to inspire people to pray, right? Is not cast in stone, right? Like Favor rightly said, people are in different seasons at different points in their growth. There was a time when, for example, if you say at 30 years old you should be able to have prayed for 7 hours straight, and the person just gave his life to Christ at 28, that's 2 years and it's just growing. So I'm saying that people's life timelines in life is not the same, right?
Can't
so
generalize.
So but if you want to inspire people to pray, encourage them, inspire them, ginger them, motivate them, charge them to pray, right? But yes, but don't put unexpected yokes on people that God did not put, right? Is it good for people to pray long prayers? Yes, there's scriptures for it. The effectual fervent prayer of righteous man availeth much. We are expected to pray long, to pray much, to pray passionately. But when we now begin to, in a bid to drive our point home, because we do that a lot.
So for me, right? Even that statement, they should be. There's a context.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe there's a context. Yeah,
yes.
Because probably if you're having a ministers' conference and these are your pastors.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want to even be mild on that statement.
That's a statement.
But what if they are not pastors? Just congregation where we have new
issue with those kind of
believer
statements is that we are in a social media generation where a 1 minute clip can be taken from a minister's meeting
of 2 hours.
And nobody wants to know who was this thing being spoken to.
Why? And that's what we do for the scriptures.
Even scripture, exactly. When you read scripture out of context, you'll be like, say, I was talking to a child. Take for example, I was talking to a child in this scenario, and then I said, use your left hand to eat or something like that, just something that a child can relate to. And then an adult now says, this is doctrine. But what this person was actually saying was, because of this level of this child, this is what you can assimilate. So understanding scriptures, even scriptures in context, is very paramount. Same thing to some of these statements, right? Someone says before 30 you should be married, or at least in a serious relationship leading to marriage.
There's a debate going on in the comments. Another person said, what do you mean you should be?
Because that's not always true. It's good if you are, right? If God has
good.
Yes, but if that's not your case, don't feel like something is wrong with you, because this will causes unnecessary pressure.
So if I get married at the age of 30 and that marriage ends at the age of 32, why you 30? Some people it's even
the same month,
which is better. That I took my time to build myself and be sure that when I'm coming into a space, it has to be concrete. It has to be on a foundation that is standing strong.
I think another thing is, people don't really have an understanding of what marriage is. They see it as an achievement, as something to check off the list. They don't really see it as an institution, as what God it to be like. Coming together of two different person working together in alignment of a purpose to achieve something. So if you know the reason why you are going into a relationship or into marriage, you won't be stressed by what society is saying. Marriage, they are not going to live with you in the marriage. If things go wrong, you will suffer it by yourself.
You see, I watched my brother get married. I was his best man.
Younger or
no, older?
Okay.
Elder brother.
Better to drag him.
Elder brother. And when we were done, everybody left them, and in my mind I was like, oh, this is
it's the two of them.
Left me. Right?
So like nobody, like, whatever is going to happen in your marriage now is left to you.
To the two of you.
I saw somewhere where someone said that a lot of people prepare more for their wedding
than the
marriage, because, and usually it's easy to, because see, when there's pressure, what you are looking at is the wedding, the razzmatazz of the wedding, the fine pictures.
Some people right now, what is stopping them from getting married is the wedding.
It's the wedding. My brother,
not the marriage.
Ask me. It's the wedding. I'm telling you, because when you are in this part of the world, right, I feel like it's a baptism. It's a baptism into some level of responsibility, which I don't agree with most times, but having passed through the system, right, I'm just saying, this is not me trying to say this is what I learned. I'm just saying that one of the things that occurred to me while I was going through that last season and that process was that this is another level of responsibility. Even though of course there's the responsibility in the marriage, but I mean that wedding alone, especially in Nigerian context, if you're not marrying to the people that like Faji and one, you now know that I have to make this thing work and do it right,
and everybody is watching.
And at the end of the day, bye-bye. Right. So what I'm trying to say in essence is this: that usually the attention more is on the less important, which is the wedding, and then people, because of the flamboyance of what a wedding looks like and what you see on social media, People post nice pictures. People post picture of smoke, haze. What's that thing? Smoke. You know that smoke effect. And everyone likes it. It's good. It's beautiful. Everybody should have that. Should have the chance to experience that, right? Yeah. But if that is if that's the farthest your eyes can see, you are in problem. Yeah. You are in problem because you will not realize that you did not know what you were signing up for, right? You know. So I think there's been some one or two on the comment section, and I want to read. Wisdom Rave says before 30 you should be married with 2 kids, a 6-figure job, own your house, gym subscription, and 10 steps skincare routine. At this point I believe that it's just being sarcastic. Because even if you are Mark Zuckerberg's son, you might not have achieved all of this, right? So but this matter of unrealistic expectations especially at 30, because somehow everybody feels like 30 is that milestone, right? They say a fool at 40
is a fool forever.
But somehow people believe that life just starts at 30. You're conscious of reality. So once people are around 28, 29, I had a friend, she was gonna clock 29. She was really, really depressed. She has a job, she's not married. She has a good paying job, like she works freelancing and all that. She earns I think in dollars or in pounds. She earns in foreign figures. She's doing well. She has her apartment. She's doing well. What an average Nigerian youth will be trusting God for. She has achieved it and she's still doing much. But she was clocking 29. She was not in a relationship. She was not married, of course, definitely not, right? She was depressed. I mean, she had a meltdown on her birthday, on the eve of her birthday, and then on the day of her birthday. It was a meltdown. Why? Because she just felt like that 30 that I've been seeing that was far before. Now I'm entering the 30 now, and all the things that I want to accomplish in her mind, because usually comparison blinds your eye from what you have achieved and focuses it on what you have not achieved. So I had to call attention to say, calm down. How much is your salary per month? Because even me, I'm trusting God for what is your salary per month. And it was then she now realized that she was being ungrateful, right? And all of these things stem from all these unrealistic expectations. Who said that? What if it's by 35 you get married? While it is good to get married early, right? If your own case is not now looking like that, and you have done everything right, because some people is bad character that is making them but you have done everything right, just leave it up to God and know that your timing is in His hands. Just avoid anything that will put you under pressure, because the pressure will not change it. Rather, pressure will cause you to take a wrong decision, right? Guys,
there's a question here. Someone asked a question. Gracie, she said, I have a question, please. Is it proper for a woman to marry someone she's more mature than spiritually? I will leave the men in the house to answer that.
What does she mean by more mature than spiritually? That's a
question.
Because as a man and as a husband, there's already something that God has placed on you for you to be able to function in that office. So if what she's calling maturity,
I don't agree. I know that. I recognize it. She wants to give.
It's not a bad thing to decide. But for you to be able to say I'm spiritually mature than him, are you saying that? Because we have to have context now. Are you saying that you have more understanding of the scripture than him? You know the principles more than him. You pray more. You have a fervent life. What is the context?
Idea of spiritual maturity.
So if it's that you pray more, you are more spiritually inclined, you are more discerning, and that. It means that you should be able to lead him and prime him.
But it should be the other way now. The man should be the head.
It should be the other way. But in this case, it's not the other way.
So should she not look for
what she can do? No. But I'm saying, if truly that's where you should be, is that you can prime somebody to be his best version.
But
and
men,
now it's left to the man.
Thank you.
To be able to
listen to correction,
fast track his growth process. To be able to come to that posture, that position is supposed to be to be able to be spiritually mature. We cannot just throw off that man like that.
So because there are two things that are possibilities in this scenario. Number one, like Favor rightly said, the explanation or the definition of spiritual maturity, first of all, needs to be understood, because many times when a person believes that they are more spiritually sound than someone else, it's pride. and it's a sign that you are not mature.
And sometimes it's charisma.
Because many times, what the Bible actually describes as spiritual maturity is a fruit called love, humility. Whereas you might think it's the one that bend down, do crack, whereas the other person that is not doing cow, Christ is formed. Yes, so Christ is formed in that person. Yes. That person forgives more. No, I'm not saying you now. Like, take for example the lady now that in question. I'm just saying hypothetically speaking, it could be, like I said, it's one of the possibilities. Could have fasted 7 days dry. In fact, it's a habit. Every 2 weeks, she eats 1 week, she fasts. Maybe it's her nature, it's her life. She studies scripture, but maturity in according to scriptural context is not how much, as those things ought to lead you to a destination. The end of all those things is that Christ is formed in you. And how do we know that Christ is formed in you? Is that you love more. At the end of the day, that's the fruit of the Spirit. Everything is love, peace, joy, gentleness, all those things. They are fruit of love. Is love that you can easily forgive. You can be wrong and say sorry. Those are the real fruits of love. So this guy looks like a baby Christian because maybe his environment or where he grew up from, he was not brought up in a church where they used to do quack. But through discipleship, he has been trained to have mercy. He has been trained to love. He has built character. She might be looking at him and say, "You're not praying for 11 hours. You're not gingering me." But the guy, in that context, she's wrong. According to God, he's more spiritual matured. So I'm just saying that's a possibility. Whereas there's the other possibility that she's probably dating a babe. Right? Because the guy is a babe. Maybe she even led him to Christ, and somehow he's now this thing. And I always say, I don't believe that there's any straitjacket operation with the Spirit. For example, you can be dating a babe that will end up becoming your spiritual father or your mentor tomorrow.
Sir, you just made mention of something that made me remember a real life story that is present now. So let me, so that I don't point out to the person, but I know they are my friends. One was my friend. We worked together in the art space. The other, I didn't know him. Now they were dating. Now she was not a believer. He was an unbeliever. So
two different. Yes, she was not a believer, but he was an
unbeliever. So see this.
You have to explain this mystery.
So see this. Now she gives her life to Christ. He is not in the faith. So now she has found Christ.
They are unequally yoked.
Yes, she has found Christ. But see what happens. They come together, and she leads him to Christ. And now they are doing the journey together. Yeah. So it seems like because of her own background, she was more grounded. But right now, that guy is something else. My God. Yes. In terms of growth, he's on another level. They submitted themselves to mentorship, to training, to discipleship. So, but you can see that where this guy is coming, because sometimes it's the heart God will work. Yes. Your heart is so malleable that God can be able to fast track a lot of things.
Yes, I agree.
And see now, I'm telling you the real facts.
Because I said this in one of the other shows, and if we were dragging ourselves about red flags, right? I say many times, especially as believers, we are too quick to call a thing red flag. Sometimes what we call red flag might just be ignorance. And what is needed to solve that is knowledge or enlightenment or revelation. Take for example, and I remember I made the example of someone who had never been in an environment or in the spiritual environment where he was taught the need to submit to mentorship, leadership, accountability, and all of these things. And you as a lady, your first priority is that I can never date a guy that is not submitted to spiritual authority. Yes. Now, the moment you meet that guy, it's going to come off to you as a red flag. But this guy is not submitting, not because of rebellion, but because he doesn't know.
Yes.
Now he comes and meets you and you say, "Do you have a spiritual father?" He say, "What's that? I've heard it, but I never knew about it." He say, "Tell me about it." I say, "Don't worry, just keep going." For me, there's no conversation. Carry your load and go. Whereas this is someone that if you are told about it, he would have gone to God to pray. God would have led his heart to probably go submit somewhere, to be tutored, to be trained and to be taught, right?
And at the same time, we are not saying that people should neglect the yes. So yes,
that day I was balancing it.
At the same time,
I wish Pidgey was on this show because this was like.
At the same time, we're not saying don't be discerning to see that this is a no-go area. You cannot. This person is not someone that is vulnerable. The person is not someone that wants.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know the limit and where to.
If I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. Right? I learned. I think I saw it somewhere. I don't know how true that, but I think it's true. Daddy Gio's wife was born again before him, and they were dating. He was still a teacher. I think so. Now that's the story. Right? He was a lecturer.
Yes,
I know he's a lecturer.
But he was not born again. She was already born again, and they were already now. So because somebody is asking that, is it possible? How can you overtake? How can somebody overtake? So. No.
She said it's like going backwards.
Some people miss classes. Some people don't in the spirit.
And sometimes not even like they miss classes. Just that this is this person's destiny. This is what God has ordained this person for. The fact that he came in late, the 11th hour laborer and the second hour laborer receive the same wages. Yeah. And it depends on how much he cooperates with God. Like you said, heart factor cooperates with God. Now it's not comparison. God is not comparing you versus this person. This is his own race he's running. The moment he gets there, he will be what he will be to you.
So if we're saying that the lady is more spiritually mature, she can prime. I mean, just prime him.
Actually.
Yeah, put him
it's the same way a man primes his bride. As Christ says, present her to yourself how you want her to be. Right? Sometimes we ought to do that. Sometimes you might have the privilege of doing it the other way. God might give you the privilege of doing some sort of work in the person's life. I'm not saying I the Holy Spirit, because that must be clear. You cannot change a person that doesn't want to change. But sometimes God might need you to be the agent that would help that person, catalyst that will catalyze that person into what they want to be. So the thing is, I just know what God is saying, because at the end of the day, your case is not someone else's case. Men and brethren, we have been having a conversation for almost 2 hours now, and it's been super, super solid. Right? At this point, we might have to call it quits, but I have a few questions to ask you, Favor. I'll ask you one, if you ask him one. I know you have a question that has been put in your heart. So we are putting Favor on the spot at this point, right? And remember, guys, we talked about the giveaway. So you want to stay around for the giveaway? Ife, you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, sure. So I think we'll just keep it till next. So that means you have to come back next show on Thursday.
So on Thursday we'll be live for trends, and then we'll be dropping the magic word, the magic question that you need to take note of. And at the end of the month, we're going to be giving a scintillating gift to the best, to our most faithful viewer. You don't want to miss that. I mean, it's important that we give back to you guys. You guys are simply amazing. All right, so straight ahead to On the Spot with Favor. You are sweaty, even though you're under the AC. Don't worry.
We've not even asked the question yet.
It's conspicuous that you are here.
Okay. Be honest, Favor. Do you sometimes choreograph in your head while someone is talking to you? Be honest.
Yes, guilty as charged. I mean, it takes some level of maturity. In fact, for you to be walking and because you're now, this is what they call muscle memory.
Yes, muscle memory.
So some things that you've trained your body towards now have that in play. So imagine you
even
doing
subconsciously. Just for yourself.
Sir, let me confess.
You have done it
yesterday. I was sleeping.
You woke up,
music was playing. I'm not even joking.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking.
You busted a move.
I'm not joking. From my sleep, I was.
Can you imagine? Okay, so I can attest to this, right? Let me give you guys I stayed with Favor at some point while we served. So, by the way, we served together at NCTF, right? So we stayed together in the same family house, in the same room, safe. So there are days. Favor. Let me give you that. This guy is the spirit. You used to sleep like someone that is half. So we used to call him the wicked. There's no sleep for the wicked. The wicked, right? So he would have prayed all through the night. Then when he's trying to rest a bit early hours of the day, you can just play a sound and you just see Favor is moving. Everyone like, what's up? What's going on? It's normal. We all got used to it. So I think I attest to this.
So I do choreograph in my head.
Amazing.
I do. you see something and it gives you an idea, and you are piecing everything.
Quickly just. I get.
Yeah, so I do.
Fair.
All right, my home question: which one should I ask? Oh, all of it is looking interesting. Okay, let me just pick one. Can you marry someone that earns or is older than you? So two, that's 2 in 1.
Earns more
than you or is older than you.
You see, I didn't break the broken.
But this, you see.
When a man starts
now you are not clear.
Or actually,
you repeat the question again.
Can you marry someone that earns more than you or that is older than you?
So I gave an example recently to my producer. If she's watching, shout out to her. That if you let me not give that example.
I'm tempted to say give it, but I don't
know. Yeah, so depends, right? Depends on the context and the situation.
Okay. You want to laugh out context, bro.
Honestly, it depends, because there are some things you shouldn't write off. I mean, if God places that kind of person strategically in your life, and the barrier that will be stopping you would be that she's a bit older than me. Side will not be able to hold, not because of your own choice or decision. It's because culturally they won't let that fly. So, and we're in Nigeria, so it's person specific.
I think it has freeze.
Okay, so our visuals, are we good?
Yeah, well.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry about the network glitch. So for those of you that didn't get the question and Favor's response, we're asking if you could marry someone that earns more and is older than him. And I'll just allow, let's hear it from the horse's mouth again. So if I have to come again with your answer.
Okay. I mean, so sometimes it's cultural based, it's a cultural factor.
Yeah.
That you might want to marry that person, but because of where you are residing in, because of the modus operandi, the norms of that
environment,
yes, it might not fly. And this is not you. This this is the where you
Environmental
yes,
factors.
yes. But I mean, it's possible. This is possible. Like we've looked at factors that should make a relationship healthy and godly. If they are there, I mean, why not? And for earning more, it's not a problem. Earning more has never been a problem. In fact, as a man, sometimes your wife might even have more money than you. It's just that you are the provider. That should never stop. For the fact that your wife earns more than you should not make you or rip you off being a provider. So if those things are in check, I mean, it's the insecurity of the people, of the man. He's trying to protect his ego and all that. But
and I think it trickles down to society, because society makes it look like you are not a man if you are not able to do that. Even scripture, of course, says that he that is not, that will not, for yes, provide for his family is worse than an infidel and all that. So somehow, what society does is they make it look like the pressure comes to be that you as a man now, if your wife is any more than you, it looks like you are no longer the provider. Like it's difficult to explain to somebody that you can still be the provider even though you are not earning the highest. So it is not a role for the highest earner. It is a role given to a person. And the good thing with partnership is that if for any reason, for example, there are people that in their marriage, we talked about this one time. I referenced a popular influencer, even Christian influencer, that for a while had to agree with his wife. He was just going to be at home. He was a stay-home dad, right? The wife was working and all of that, and he's working for them, at least so they say, right? It's working and all that, but it doesn't mean that he's not working. He's a social media influencer, so he doesn't have to necessarily go get a physical job. He's still working. He's still making money, and the responsibility of providing, even according to scriptures, is given to the man, right? So, like Favor rightly said, you don't have to be the highest earner to be the provider. You don't have to. Whatever system you want to employ, she can decide to assist. You can decide to have a joint account where you put money together. But at the end of the day, you ought to be the provider. The provider is the one that makes sure that what is needed is available.
Security is available.
I'm telling you, it's necessary.
So there are a lot of things that you can't provide for.
So they asked a man the same question. You know what he said? I can never. No, my Lord. I can never do such a thing.
I won't blame him, because people are folded in those kinds of situations. Yes. A lot of compromises happen.
Let me share a story. I just remember the story and it touched me. I just remember. So a lady was sharing with me. She was sharing with someone that shared with me, someone very close to me, and she was saying that as a woman, so while they relocated out of the country, right? So while they were in the country, the husband had a very, very fantastic job. I mean, he was making cool money. So they decided to relocate. And you know how it is when people relocate. So they tried, in fact, the man would have relocated, but they were not going to allow him come with his wife. So he had to stay back. They tried until they were able to relocate as a family, and they went together. Now, because of what he was doing in Nigeria is something that is specific to Nigeria. If he wants to practice there, he has to start literally all over. And she was I think it was nursing she was doing, so it was easier for her to just pass the exam and continue over there. So she easily got a job for about 3 months or 6 months. I can't remember the time period and the time frame. He was not working. She said this man in Nigeria will never he will never have her ask for a thing twice. That's how much you take care of her. That's how much intentional. Like that kind of person that you say, how my husband takes care of me. He was the perfect definition. So for those 6 months, she had to be the one holding the fort. Now she said she shared this thing, and she said that for the first time, she didn't know that she can ever disrespect that man until that season. She found herself that sometimes she'll find herself, because I think a woman is not naturally designed to be in the presence of a man and be the provider. So at that point, for a while, she had to step in. And she had to be the one. While he was doing many things, learning courses, he had to start learning things so that he can acclimatize to that environment there. But in that period, she was providing. She said she would be talking to her, she would raise her voice at him. This was the same person that she wouldn't dare do it, because while they were in Nigeria, he was providing. No, she was being taken care of. Now it was her turn to do it. I'm not saying she said she didn't know that was a possibility in her until it manifested. And God has to call her. She's like, Jesus, look at what I'm doing. What am I doing like this? And all that. But in all of that, the man still remained good and all that to her. But I'm saying that a man must find a way to be a provider. Of course, within legal context, right? So what I'm saying in essence is that these things are realities. Like when she shared that story with me, I made so many things out of it. Because she felt overwhelmed. This was something that the man does on a daily basis. She did it for 6 months. She felt overwhelmed. She wanted to change it for the man and all that. She did change it several times. She would, at some point, she said she even insulted him, spoke at his face, because it was much. There was the stress from work, coming home, and this man is just sitting. So at this point, I would like to get our final thoughts on this, right? Expectations. There's going to be expectations still. Maybe till the kingdom come, right? Expectations will keep coming. I want you to give final thoughts as to this matter. Maybe give an advice to someone watching and is under some undue duress to have certain accomplishments at certain age and all that. What would be your advice for them as a matter of final thought? I'll start with you, Ife.
Of course, ladies first.
Exactly. As a gentleman that I am.
All right. So the advice I would give is whatever expectation people have of you, you have to understand at the end of the day, you only have one life to live. So if you allow them push you into situations you are not ready for, you will be the one to suffer the consequences. Sure. So you just have to find a way to stay grounded in reality, your own reality, not the reality that people are painting for you. What is your reality? These expectations that they have for you, does it align with your work, and does it align with the state, like that, the current level you're high in life? So once you have an understanding of that, it will help you be able to withstand anything that is coming. At the end of the day, people will talk and they will stop talking at some point, and then you go on to live your life, and you realize that if you can do this and if you can stay focused, and at the end of the day, when you have your results, the same people that were trying to push you into the wrong situation will be the one ailing you for resisting. So please don't allow yourself to be pushed into wrong situation. Stand your ground, know what you stand for, and let your reality be your reality, not what people are saying. Most especially, take it to God. What is the expectation that God has for you? That is the main one that we need to focus on. What is God expecting of you? What has he called you to do? So if you can find that, and if you can be focused on it, definitely you'll be fulfilled. So that's
Thank you
it.
So much. I don't have anything to fight with about today. All right, Sophie, thoughts?
So you should live your life with vision. That will determine a lot of things, a lot of parameters that you run with, because people will have expectations. Your family have expectations. Society, they do have their expectations. Everybody, life has its expectations, but what are you running on? Is it based on what the vision God has given to you? That's the blueprint you are following, or because if you run on expectations, you keep falling off the track again and again and again. So have a clear-cut vision. What am I supposed to do, and how should I do it? And then, now, this is not us saying that you should be lackadaisical.
Also important.
There's a scripture in Ecclesiastes that says that it's only on earth you can work.
True.
So what you need to do here, do it here.
True.
I used to give an illustration or an example to some of my people. I used to tell them that Let me not leave it. Let me not say. Let me leave it, so that I don't throw shit at you. Yeah. So,
Nice,
but I
nice,
mean,
nice.
just be on point in terms of your work ethic. If you know you need to do this and it's part of your vision, and people are saying that, do it. It doesn't matter whether people are saying it or not. Just do what you know is in line with vision. Now, we should not mistake expectations from counsel, from what people are from wise counsel.
Yes.
So take wise counsel, leave the expectations to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
thank you. I just feel in my spirit to ask you this question. I think someone would want you to answer that question. Sir, are you single? I just said, please, so please can you help demystify that mystery, sir. Thank you, sir.
This is the spot. Am I single?
Yes, sir. That's the question. Not like are you married? We know you're not married, but are you single?
Are you in a
Relation.
relationship?
Thank
I
you,
think
thank
that's
you.
a better.
Kai. No, I'm not.
Okay.
So, you guys heard it here live and direct from Amazon TV. All right, guys, it's been such a scintillating conversation. I mean, it's been such a delight having Favor with us in the studio. Do well to follow him on social media platforms. You're on YouTube, sir?
Yeah, Favor maybe
J, Instagram,
Lord Vino.
Facebook,
Favor maybe J.
And TikTok.
And TikTok, right?
Yeah.
At
Yes,
Lord
Vino. Yeah.
Okay. So please do well to follow him. Amazing stuff. I mean, you would be so inspired, and I trust you'll be excited you did that. If you're yet to subscribe to MBS TV, you are slacking. You should. I mean, it doesn't bite, right?
It doesn't.
Just click
on the notification bell also to get notified whenever we're live. And we bring you
And
premium
share.
content and share. Invite someone to invite someone. Until we come your way again next time. That will be all today for Trends. We love you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.